Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Green Factor, a show where we talk about green design and the business of sustainability. I'm your host, Haris the Green Carpenter, and today we'll be talking about keeping fabrics out of landfills. Um, I think just to share a little bit about this topic, for me personally, I've been working a lot with waste material, not just wood material. A lot of people know that I work with a lot of food waste, but I do work a lot with plastic waste, fabric, and several other waste. So what I believe is waste is going to be the material of the future, and today this topic we have. A guest that has been working really long in this space. So we have Susie and Sarah from Kloth. Hi guys.
Hi, Haris. Good to see you again.
Hi, Haris. How are you?
Thanks for
So thank
having
you
us
very
at
much.
Kedah.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming to the show. I've been following you guys for quite some time, so I'm happy that you guys take the time to be on the show. So I think before we go into the topic of today's discussion, can you guys just share a little bit about Clause, what you guys do, and what are you guys trying to push for right now?
Okay. My name is Suzy. I'm the co-founder of Kloth together with Sarah. We established Kloth in 2013. That was a long time ago. The aspiration of Kloth, in short, is basically we want to catalyze the textile, plastic, and clothing circular economy in Malaysia. But what does it mean in short is that we want to provide a sound and simple solution for the Malaysians to keep unwanted fabric away from the landfills, to keep plastics away from the landfills and the ocean. And then concurrently, at the same time, we want to elevate the economic value and income for the B40s in Malaysia. So our approach is basically we are known as Kloth Cares mostly is because of our advocacy Kloth Cares, whereby we have more than 400 fabric bins in store in Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, Johor Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, and Putrajaya. And apart from that, I mean, we also have other brands like Clothwear and Cloth Textiles, and they are sustainable fibers for the future. Currently, the first world country is very popular, whereby these fibers are made from these recycled plastic bottles, and we also upcycle good quality unwanted fabrics into corporate merchandises, and these are all stitched by the marginalized communities in Malaysia. So, Sarah, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I think when we first started in 2013, we were focusing on the solution, meaning to say we promote and supply fabric made from recycled plastic bottle. But then again, back in 2013, and in 2 years down the road, and we felt that we are quite advanced, not understanding the whole Malaysian landscape, like talking about sustainability and all, like at very infancy stage. So we are looking at, we have the problem statement to solve. So where does our plastic waste go to? Where does our fabric waste go to? So we got approached by Guess USA. So they want to streamline with their global sustainability campaign for denim to denim. So we got like approached and to collect the denims from their stores. And I was asking Susie, like, this is not what we do. We are promoting sustainable material and not collecting fabric. But that opened up the subject, fabric waste, and the solution, like where does it go to and all that. Then we started like first campaign with then Guess USA back in 2016, and we have Lock 10, so they have the Earth Hour, so we did a campaign installing our first fabric bin. And then I say, okay, let's look into this more seriously, and we come up with a real solid campaign with targets, with our a clear vision what we want to do in 2018, 2018 we created Kloth Cares, with the aim keeping fabric out of landfills, simply because we realized that this issue has not been talked about in Malaysia. So why in 2018 is, we feel that is relevant because if you saw the fast fashion is coming in, the technology, the online shopping, people, the more garment manufacturers, like like local producers and all that, they all have the same problem. Everyone would create a fabric waste at clothes, your unwanted clothes. You simply buy online and suddenly you don't, it doesn't fit you, the wrong color, the wrong material and all that. So I mean, like, we saw that the problem is really, really, I wouldn't say it's a trendy, but it's good to dig in more, like how we solve this problem. So we put a target for the first 18 months. We want to hit 188,000 kilograms of unwanted fabrics, which is equivalent to 1 million pieces of t-shirts away from the landfill. And we managed to achieve the target within 11 months. So that was really like overwhelming for us. So how we providing the solution at that time is we education and awareness. Keeping fabric out of landfills, the movement, join the movement, join the movements. We keep telling everyone join the movement. We install fabric bins across, like we have the pump stations, the shopping malls, schools, building offices. So we all across, so we see like which one is
Mm.
the most effective, impactful, high traffic and all that. So we've gone through that. And I think in 2019, so when we first started in 2018, we collected like probably 1,000 kilogram a month, you know but now we are collecting like 180 kilogram a month. So there's a big shop, simply because providing more access facility to recycling, more awareness, people know where to dispose their unwanted clothes. We take all sorts of garments, and so long that it's not wet and soil, so we can take it and we process
Okay,
it
Sarah.
into.
I think
Yeah,
like Yeah, I think we will go more into detail later.
yeah, yeah.
I think just so we want to know a bit of what you do and all that, so we already have some idea what you guys do, and then now I want to go more slightly deeper lah. So we've talked a little bit about the problem, which is um, right now I want to explore more. It's like the wearable waste problem here in Malaysia. If you guys can share some statistic or how bad it is here.
Okay, in Malaysia, okay, globally, let's talk about global first. So the global production of textiles and clothing are, well, it's about over 100 billion, with a B, billion pieces of garments, whereby over 70% are landfill or incinerated. And that's scary, that's a staggering amount, right? So let's talk about Malaysia. The truth is that in Malaysia, we don't have much Malaysian data on textiles and clothing waste. But what we know is on a yearly basis, more than 400 tons of textiles and clothing waste are generated. And that's scary, right? More than 400,000 tons. Yet in Malaysia, our recycling rate in general, like, it's not specific for textiles, is only about 32.5% in 2022. But bearing in mind, in Malaysia, there's a lot of textiles and clothing problem because of two reasons. Number one, well, we know that we have to recycle, but where do you recycle? Where do you take action? Where are your recycling bins? B, even if you say you recycle, but do you know how many fabric recycling factories in Malaysia are really doing the right way to recycle? And most importantly, it should be ISO certified, because when it is ISO certified, meaning to say that there's another independent body who will check whether are you really recycle this properly, or the things that you don't want still go into the landfills or whatever. So that is in Malaysia. And I want to share another thing with you. And this is something that we've done various surveys, but I have two data that I love to tell people. Number one about Malaysians, yeah. This is Klang Valley based, by the way, mostly. 27% of Malaysians dispose your outfits after wearing it one time. Can you imagine that? Why? It's because it's dirt cheap for certain people and they don't have sentimental value. Number two, hear me out. This is super scary. 7 out of 10 dispose their garments in less than 1 year. What does that mean? That means if we don't have the right fabric recycling facilities accessible to people, Well, this item will most probably go into our garbage bin. When it's into the garbage bin, it's not sorted, it's wet, it will go into the landfills. And as we all know, if it's sent to the landfills, meaning a lot of methane gases will be released from our landfills during the, by what do you call that? When it decomposes, that is when methane gases are produced. That is when it will have really adverse impact for our environmental degradation.
So that's the alarm as well. You guys an
Oh,
alarm,
that's
huh?
right. That's
So
right.
that's how alarming it is, guys.
Wow. Yeah, and then I want
So
to
we
tell
have,
you, men doesn't. Okay, most men do not know this. I have to tell you as well, Haris. Okay. Um, did you know that there are generally two types of fabrics? One is organic fibers and another one is synthetic. And then globally, more than 70% are made from synthetic fibers. And then if I tell you synthetic, you can't relate, right? So synthetic is basically polyester based, nylon based, acrylic as well. So these are all crude oil based fibers, and it will take more than 200 years if you dispose them into the landfills. And imagine what kind of methane gases that will be emitted. So this is the real problem that we have now. So I hope you moved.
yeah. I think for me as well, when I started to look more into sustainability, one of the things that I found help me personally is I wear the same thing. So a lot of people will always see me in my green shirt. I rarely buy new clothes. I wear it, whatever I have, I wear it until it's like dissolved or anything. So my wife also complained like I don't buy things or like wear it until it's like a lot of holes and all that. But I think it helps me as well, and it also lessen the time for me to think of what to wear every day. So it works for me.
So you
So
have a day-to-day uniform. Good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
So
feel you.
I think
Sometimes I just feel like wearing just black, but
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think the problem is big all over the world, Malaysia included. We also because we also bring in a lot of fabric as well. We have the bundle business. We have even some people send their fabric waste here in Malaysia to be processed, right? So, how are you guys solving this problem? What are your approach to doing this?
I'll let Sarah to
so
continue from the first
yeah, so
question just now.
I mean, like, our approach in our advocacy would be, we have the five principle, which is we start with rethink. This is part what we talk about. Join the movement and rethink, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. So first, you have to rethink whether you need it. This kind of thing that, okay, can you repair this item, or can you pass down if you don't want the clothes anymore. So how you reduce is, it's not stop buying, less buying, because people grow, so, and people doesn't want to all, but so less buying, but you buy sustainable material, not sustainable material, I would say, like, last longer, like certain items, when it's too cheap, it's easily torn out like after like 3 washes. So those are the things that we try to encourage people. Look at the material, make sure the color, as well, like, doesn't run fast, then becomes fade, then you tend to, dispose easily. Then we talk about reuse simply, like, if like a dress becomes a shirt, so you can, like, mix and match, that kind of thing. And repurpose, in our industry would be the water absorbent material, we can repurpose into industrial wiping cloth. And, like, last but not least, then only, like, you start recycling. So I mean, when you follow these steps, right, you are reducing your waste into the landfill. Like, and but even so, like, reducing your waste into the landfill, you will stop throwing stuff out of your closet. Yeah, because you will start rethink, you have to rethink whether you need it or not. And how, what else that we go by, we sometimes we call it ourselves as a waste consultant. Hello.
We're
Yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah. We can hear
Okay.
you.
We call ourselves a waste consultant, so we give advisory to the corporate clients, like your corporate uniforms, what you can do with it. So most water absorbent uniforms, we can cut the logo, remove the logo, and material can be cut into industrial wiping cloth. So we try to look into possible solutions. Some clients say like, oh, it's really, really new, but we have moved on to a new uniform. So what we can do with it? So you can do upcycle. You can upcycle into corporate merchandise. Then last but not least, then you can't do anything about it. Then we have to we send to a facility where you can turn into process engineered fuel for the cement clean industry. Yeah.
Awesome,
Susie,
awesome.
you have to add?
Well, I don't. I mean, you've given it all.
Yeah, so I think like sometimes we don't know what you can do with it. So I think like by having some guidelines, some place where you can send and all that, it helps. At least not just disposing it. At least it's being um, it it's being thought of lah. Meaning like
Yeah.
I give to this. It's either go to like you guys. I think you work with company that sort it for like what 500 types.
That is right. So we are in partnership with Malaysia's only ISO certified fabric recycling factory. The owner is Australian, by the way, and then in Australia, they are the second largest recycling company. So we are very, very lucky to have them because they are through and through ISO certified, internationally run and operated as in like really professionally. Why does it matter is because, okay, let me tell you something. I always tell people this. If you go to any fabric recycling factory or you speak to anyone who claim to be like, I am a recycling factory person, right? You're gonna ask, okay, at your factory, how many types of items do you sort after you collect them? Why does it matter? Is because if you talk to anyone who just sort about 30 to 50 or 80 items, most likelihood that is not really through and through sorting, because in the end what happens is that, example, if you don't sort like your garments and your sneakers and your flip-flops, these are all separate categories. If you were to export them to the third world countries or developing countries, if they dump everything in a container, the receiver will be only taking the items that they want, which is specific, right? Certain people, example, if you send something to Papua New Guinea, why do you have to send items that they don't want? Example, why do you have to include baju kurung? Example. So it depends on relevant. So I'm trying to tell you is that, yes, we collaborate, and our off-taker is Lifeline Clothing Malaysia. They are ISO certified, and we hope that there are more fabric recycling factories in Malaysia throughout our country, including East Malaysia especially as well, to have more ISO certified recycling factories. Yeah.
Understand. So the next question would be like how businesses, especially because we talk a lot about how businesses can take part into sustainability. So how can businesses or the corporate take part in your initiative?
Okay, so that's a very good question because they are okay. We like to approach the corporates through EPR standards that is practiced in the first world country, whereby by and large there are three stages. Number one is about it's about design stage. Designs include when you want to buy your new uniform, for instance, you look for a uniform that is made from sustainable fibers, especially the most popular is made from recycled plastic bottle. Okay, number two is that you must ensure that where you send for stitching as well matters. Yeah, like you have to go for someone who is a registered business, blah, 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 blah. So that's number one. Why does it matter is because if you don't support sustainable fibers, especially made from recycled plastic bottle, you're not helping the industries. You're not helping the recycled plastic bottle to be made into secondary resources, you see. So now B, we tell the corporates that if you have any, especially industrial and commercial and institutions, if you have any good quality pre-commercial textiles, please reuse them or upcycle them, donate to us, and we're going to send it to the marginalized communities across Selangor so far, and then they will make it into tote bags. Used to be face masks. We produce about more than 20,000 face masks, I think, altogether. Popular item tote bags, and we also have the multi-pocket organizers and many others. Lastly, Well, we tell the corporates that last but not least, you don't know what to do with your unwanted items, please recycle. There are two methods. A, you can always adopt a fabric bin, indoor recycling bin or outdoor, but outdoor recycling bin, it must be accessible to the local communities as well. Or you can call us for door-to-door collection, but the collection should be at least 300 kilograms. So what we're trying to tell you is that we are focused in terms of sustainable fibers, encouraging people to change their procurement habits. B, please reuse and repurpose, like Sarah said extensively just now. And then finally, you don't know what to do with it anymore. And after you have example, like I like to give my friends who are about my size with my style, my good quality items that is not, to me, is out fashion. As I grow older, there are a lot of things that I cannot wear anymore in my 20s. So, I give that to people I know. But if I don't know like what else to do with it, and I'll throw that into cloth bin. And you're talking like cloth bin is our brand, but I still give to people who are with the same size and the same style. So yeah, so that's what we do. And so far, I want you to know that more than 200,000 plastic bottles that was turned into fabrics were sold as textiles or garments in Malaysia.
Understand. So, you've talked about picking it up, but can you just share a little bit about the bins itself? If you want to adopt a bin, or what are the procedures, or what do you need to do?
Okay, there are two types of recycling bins. A is the indoor recycling bin, B is the outdoor recycling bin. Unfortunately, this month, starting from this is January, December, we have limited amounts of outdoor recycling bins. The one that you see at Shell stations, Bursa Malaysia, Maybank and all is very scarce. Why? It's because our recycler need to raise more funds to get the bins. So if you want to adopt the bin, you can, but it will take more time now. But it must be placed at a publicly accessible place like the shopping mall, Shell station. And if you're a corporate example, we have MBSB Bank who has been sponsoring a lot of fabric bins at the universities using their logo and their brand. It's blue in color, beautiful MBSB Bank as example. Of course, I mean, like, you can also donate to Kloth because as a social enterprise, so we really appreciate parties who can donate so that we can continue and then strengthen our advocacy for knowledge sharing and a lot of this. Sarah, do you have anything else to add?
No, pretty much that's it. Like for, join the movement can comes in various forms. So be part of the community, recycling drive, do workshops with your employees. I mean, it's really, really good. Like, you touch it, you hear the problem statement and then give them some experience to upcycle certain, materials that we have, and, something like they will remember more. And it's what is good that when we approach these businesses, even though that, they don't have a bin at the office building, but they will go to the nearest. I mean, this is what the responses that we got from the corporate citizens. Like, they will go to the nearest malls, or they have their favorite place, like probably the universities and whatnot. I mean, like, so long it's nearby their area, they will utilize the facility. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you guys have been doing this for quite some time. So you've gotten various awards. You've grown tremendously. So the next question is, what contributes to your success?
Okay, first of all, disclaimer. Success is subjective. A lot of people like, you're successful? Like, okay, it depends on how you measure. As in, like, we're definitely not successful. We're definitely very little as a social enterprise. But how do we get to our goals and materialize that, right? It's basically, okay, one is, it goes back to the co-founders or founders, right? So I better like what I do. I better be honest about it. I better be passionate about it. It's been 8.5 years, close to 9 years now. B, I guess if you're alone, you don't have a business partner, that is short sendiri lah, in bahasa, right? It's short sendiri lah. You can't. You need to have business partners, founders that you believe. Of course, you need to have a group of advisors, because sometimes when you talk to co-founders, Sarah and I talking to each other, we're like, we are in our own cloth world, but we don't see beyond. So Sarah and I have a pool of advisors, and we're very lucky that our advisors are across the board. They're accountants, they're engineers, they're industry people. So our heads get like, they did not our head like, hey girl, that's not true. That's a bit delusional. Next is you need to have a good team. Unfortunately, our team is very small, Haris. There's only 7 of us who are working day in, day out, but we our advisors and a lot of others, outsourcing parties, we have about 10 people, 10 to 11 people. Um, Success, I mean, in terms of garbage success that we collect, I mean, you need to have great stakeholders, especially great relationship with your key founders. Like for us, it's like we're very lucky to have Selangor Youth Community as our founding partner for the fabric recycling. We have SW Corp, which is a government agency under the Ministry of Housing Local Government. They're amazing at helping us to get access to the local councils, national data, why we have to create awareness. And most importantly, I guess, clear strategies how to get there. Hand it to Sarah.
Yeah, I just want to add more, like just on the last part. I think we are pretty much clear. We set the target. Everyone must set the target, like, or else you're too comfortable in your, comfort zone. When we first started, we aimed like 188,000 kilogram of unwanted fabrics that we want to collect within 18 months, but we got 11 months. But this year we pledged that we want to collect 2 million kilograms. Looking at the forecast, we probably slightly under. It's 1.9 probably. But hopefully we hope to increase our collection by 4 million kilograms by next year. So we keep challenge ourselves. That, I mean, we define as a success. Like, okay, success. Are we doing the right thing? Because that would be the push for us to get where we want to be. And yeah, Susie said like a pool of advisors are really good, just to give you the reality check, and change strategy where it needs to be. And we don't like to be just sitting comfortably in what we do. Yeah.
And we love talking to our advisors. Oh my God, it's like in once a week we talk to our advisors. It's like, oops, there you go. We go derail again. It's in our minds that we thought it's gonna work, but no, advisor just not on our head again. Girl, back to reality. So I like that. So I think advisors are extremely important before you go derail and waste time.
So advisors, mentor, or people outside that can help you make decisions, right?
Definitely, because when Kloth first started, the knowledge that Sarah and I had, right, was sufficient to scale up the business. Now it has come to a point where both Sarah and I do not know the answers. It's because it is beyond our capability. I mean, like Sarah and I started Kloth when we were 33, 34 years old. I mean, now we are in our early 30s, right? So while we are learning along the way, but there's a lot of skill sets that we don't understand. We don't study environmental science. We don't study textile engineering and all. So we need to get people from the industry to tell us how it's done. Yeah.
Cool. So I think the next question will be more about the future itself, because if you have your past, you're currently doing, and what are you guys looking to do in the future?
In the future, as I mentioned in question 2 just now, we have about more than 400 what do you call that? Metric ton, right? Metric ton of textile waste that is produced annually. And you heard from Sarah just now, we pledge to collect about 2 million kilograms a year. But this year, from our forecast, we are only able to achieve 1.9 million kilograms. 1.9 million kilograms, say 2,000 tons. Okay, 2,000 tons of 400 over tons that is generated. That is minuscule. So to answer your question is that we have to continue collecting. We have to provide more recycling facilities that is accessible to the public, create awareness of why we all have to start wearing sustainable fibers, and most importantly, that this is Sarah and I working very closely together with our stakeholders, is how Malaysia can implement the EPR for textiles, extended producers responsibility, and put the laws regulation in our what do you call that, in our waste management law, because it's not part of the waste waste, what do you call that, section 672. It's not. whereby you have to segregate your waste, blah, blah, blah. The first country in the world who has implemented extended producers responsibility for textile is France in 2007, whereby they have a separate bin. So, of course, I mean, that's where we want to be for Malaysia. And we want to be the force to push for that agenda.
So it's about not just awareness to the public or to the businesses, but also the government and policy making, right? Because they are the one that is going to be pushing all these companies and also the public in terms of doing that.
That's right.
So yeah, I think recently what after doing this for 60 episode, what I one of our guests, um, he Sinan from Durio, he does Didi and Friends and all that. So I interviewed him, and then like he tells me recommendations for books that he reads and all that. So for me, I would now every guest that come in, I ask what books that help you or which books that you can recommend to for our viewers to like have a read and look.
I
Sarah,
used to love
Sarah dulu
reading
lah.
books.
Sarah,
You have to
Sarah
read
dulu.
books.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very like a nerd. I read a lot of the study material for the industry we are in, simply because we don't want just to limit ourselves as a collector. So how do we turn into various other forms, like into technology industry, and you in terms of policy making? Now you're talking about EPR and all that. So mostly dry stuff. But if you talk about motivational book and all that, so I do. I think one of the favorite book that I had back in 2018 is called Great, GRITEIT. So great, simply because at that point of time it's really a struggle as a business owner, a co-founder. How do we scale up, and with little of funds, and whether you want to do or you want to stop doing it, and that was like a moment for me. Yeah. So I mean, it helps a lot, like because to measure a success is not really you have to become genius. It's about resilience and passion, what you want to achieve over the years. So it gives you some perspective in life. So that's how I see it. Yeah.
2018, yeah, it's been a while, right? Because we're busy reading emails.
Exactly. 2018, that was like really time. But after that, like, because in our industry, waste management is actually 24/7, non-stop. People, we have so many emails. You ask Susie and her team, like,
Oh
how
my
many
God.
emails that people asking about waste solution. So we are like waste consultant. Oh, I have a lot of uniforms. I have like one container of fabrics that I don't know where to send to. I have a factory closed down. So what should I do? So we are doing that because we are still a small team. Over time, yeah, I mean, we read a lot, like, where is the future heading towards fabric waste? Yeah.
Susie?
Well, I mean, like, first of all, we read a lot of emails because we deal with the communities. Number two, I mean, as mentioned just now, Sarah and I did not study this field, did not work in this field before until we start the business. So, of course, both of us have been reading a lot on our industry journals and all the materials needed. But my favorite is, of course, Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Or I suggest everyone to read about it to understand the new textiles economy, new plastics economy. How does it contribute to our economy, yourself, your health, our biosphere, and everything else? But that's a bit nerdy in our industry. But if you talk about generally, in 2015, I read this book and it was mind blowing. It's called A New Earth. Oh my God! And then he's always this personality is always on Oprah Winfrey. By the way, the name is basically Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard about him? He's also the amazing guy who wrote the book about the power of now. Oh my God, it's so amazing that it's about ego. I love reading about ego because in the end, I mean, is your mind. I mean, like, what would be something that would stop you from doing something? It's actually your ego. It describes to you like your inner feelings about your perception about life, about how to deal with your own ego, how to deal with egotistical people, and how you can get things done. And then the power of now is basically, it's very deep. It's about why you're having anxiety. is because deep inside you, you have you have a dream, but you have yet to do something about it, or to crystallize that. So to me, these two books are absolutely life changing. Well, we didn't have time to read books, but on a daily basis, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and of course, I mean, like my favorite would be all the teachings by Oprah Winfrey. Of course, all the quotes by Jeff Bezos and also Steve Jobs, and then yeah, all these three. I mean, it's very really relatable. Of course, sometimes I read quotes from Socrates or Aristotle, whatever not. But then again, that's very deep. But I like all that. I mean, like in the end, human being are the same. It's all about how do we manage our minds. So read that. Power of Now. Have you
Awesome,
heard about
awesome,
that?
awesome.
Sorry. Have you heard about that?
I I've
Yes.
heard
What?
of the book, but I haven't read it.
Oh my God, mind blowing.
Cool, 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 cool. Okay, so I think we are at the end of the
What
show.
about yours, by the way? Like I what about yours? Because Sarah and I have limited time. So people like us, like every time I want to watch Netflix, I will call my friends. So which one is worth investing time for Netflix or reading books? So since you've been talking to many people, can you give me three books that you yourself read or you read with friends' recommendation?
I think like I give other people recommendation first lah.
Okay. I'm gonna write
Good to
down.
Great,
Good
Good
to
to
great.
Great. That was one of Sinan punya ni. And then like for storytelling, the previous Irwan, he suggests for storytelling is Hero with a Thousand Faces, the classic. So that is good for telling stories and all that. I think for me, I've read a lot, but at the same time, right now, my go-to thing is more book summaries and audiobooks. So I love productivity game, better than yesterday. So these are like YouTube channels that really helps me in terms of getting bite-sized summary of thing. And then once I get, oh, okay, this is what I want to read further, then I will find the book and all that.
Okay.
So my line of job in terms of sustainability in the timber industry, it's very new, not as new as it was lah. Last time, in 10 years ago, when I started doing green business or green furniture, there's very limited knowledge about it. So I do a lot of research, like you say, the journals, everything, right? Because no one in the industry knows. So that's why I love reading and researching. Even my factory right now is a research and design factory. So we work with hundreds of design. We do different kind of process and all that to do that. So that's from me. So
Yeah, I just want you to know something, and for everyone's audience, I met him at Malaysia Urban Forum, and then during the presentation, what's on my mind is that I like the fact that how you re-engineer your business, right? That's amazing. I mean, you inherited that, and then to me, it's like wow, marvelous.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. We have visitors even from Cairo tuning in and saying hi. We have Yitmi that says great job. Karen says thumbs up and all that. So thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
tuning in. Thank you very much, guys, from Kloth, Susie, Sarah. If you guys want to know more about what they do and all that, you can visit their IG, Kloth Security, or LinkedIn as well, Kloth Security Circularity. Okay, so thank you again for tuning in. Thank you again from Kloth. For everyone else, see you next week and have a green week ahead. Bye bye, guys.